We're going to talk about psychology. This is a great topic and a really important topic. I think money management, and risk control, and psychology are one of these, are both topics that if you don't have this mastered, you're going to have a real hard time being successful trading in the markets, regardless of the type of trading approach you're using. So I think it's often an area that's neglected, and I'm glad to have everybody here because I think it's a really important area. And my goal here is to really teach you or show you how psychology can impact your trading. So we're going to cover a lot of fun stuff with it. As you can see, I have it as a slice of a pie, and I want you to think of this pie as a trading pie. You know, you have part of your trading pie, of course, is your trading approach or system. Part of it's risk control, money management. Part of it is, of course, scanning the market for your setups and so forth. And then part of it, of course, is trading psychology. So this is what we're going to be focusing on primarily today. I think probably Reed's covered this in his generic disclaimer for the presentation today. But if he hasn't, you know, I'm just here to remind you that there's risk in trading. But I always say without that risk, there's no opportunity. So the two go hand in hand. I also want to thank Reed for introducing me. I'm not sure everybody heard it because I think, Reed, your volume went off a little bit on that. But you can read more about my bio at traderscoach.com, and we have a lot of free stuff on the website, so feel free to drop over anytime and take a look at it. I also am going to be talking about a course today called the Optimum Trading Psychology course that we're going to have a special offer on at the end of the presentation. So if you like what I'm talking about here over the next hour, you probably should get the course because I think it will help you a great deal if you find yourself struggling with your psychology. I've written a few books here that are available on Amazon and some of the major bookstores. I'm going to put a link up there that you can go to our bookstore and mark that and come back to it. So bookmark that link. And it's fun to go on Amazon because you can read all the reviews of all the different books there. And so our books cover everything from risk control to a trading approach, to running your personal trading approach business as a hedge fund. I also have one coming out on Elliott Wave. I love the Elliott Wave. Been doing it for probably better sake of 15 years now, and it's just been a real good tool to kind of get an underlying roadmap of the markets. So you can read more about all that stuff at Amazon, but it's kind of fun. Okay, a couple questions here for you. Do any of you currently out there find your emotions interfering with your trading? And so just type a response into the chat window, and I'll repeat that. Yep, 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 oh yeah, okay, yes, 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 okay. That is not surprising. All right, as humans, we're kind of wired to do the wrong thing at the market, in the market at the right time. And you have to kind of relearn how to address risk, how to address your fear. And so these are the things we're going to talk about today. So if you feel that you're having this issue, believe me, again, you're not alone. I struggled with it in the beginning, and I know most professional traders out there know exactly what I'm talking about because everybody struggles with it, especially when they're starting out. How many of you feel stressed out after trading? Yes, yes, okay, especially day traders, I'll bet, feel this a little bit more. You know, that instant feedback, it can be very stressful. You want to approach trading so you have an even keel, so we're going to discuss how to put balance in your trading. What is the most destructive emotion you feel while you're trading? Anybody? What is the most destructive emotion you feel after trading? And this is going to be a personal response from everybody, I think, because everybody might have a little bit different edge on this. Fear of loss, that's a good one. It's almost when we talk about that fear of loss, it's interesting because when you're trading and you're not really that structured yet, what happens is your imagination gets the best of you. And before long, one or two losses, which may be completely normal with your trading approach, starts creating your creative imagination fueled by fear, and you start thinking of what? Losing everything. And then all of a sudden, you're in that spiral down. So fear of loss, revenge, that's another good one. Robert's saying revenge, excellent, okay? Revenge is another emotion that we feel. You know, that market took that from me. I'm going to get even, right? And of course, that usually never works. All right, so fear of failure, excellent, another one. So fear is a big issue, I think, that's coming up, whether it's in a form of losing everything or just fear of maybe going bankrupt in terms of your trading account, not losing everything, but not being able to trade anymore. So I think it's important to talk a little bit about fear later on. All right, how many out there feel, though, that trading is the perfect business? Yes, good. The best, good. All right. If you kind of are a little hedging on this and you're not sure, then you really need to look at what you're doing and why you perhaps are even in this business, because you don't want to be in a business that's not what you feel is the best business to be in, because once you feel you're in the perfect business, you're going to learn it, all right? You're going to take setbacks in stride, and you're constantly going to have that will to succeed, and you're never going to give up. So I think in any business, not just trading, whatever you choose, you need to have that, all right? You cannot give up. That's the failure is not an option. That's the kind of the attitude you have to take. So I think it's important to realize, and I personally think trading is a perfect business for a variety of reasons. You know, you can work from home, all right? You can have technically unlimited revenue. And with the technology today, you can work anywhere you want, all right? You really have no office politics, so to speak of. And one of the big ones is whether the economy is booming or busting. You know, there's uptrends and there's downtrends that we can make money off of. That's a lot different than, for example, real estate, where if real estate's going down, it's hard to make money on real estate. But in the markets, we have that ability to do it. And of course, with all the ETFs, you can make money now when the real estate market is selling off, but that's considered trading. So trading, I think, is really the perfect business for a variety of reasons. So you're in the right place. No employees and thefts, as somebody says out there. Absolutely right. All right, so again, we can learn to trade and make money regardless of economic conditions, and thus take control of our financial future regardless of what's going on around us in the economy. All right, I want everybody now to focus on trying to look at themselves for the next few slides. So let's look and see where you're at now, okay? Here's a few questions, and you don't have to answer them, but you can answer them internally. Do you feel anxiety and stress when you trade? Are you working harder in the markets but still losing money? Do you feel wound up at the end of a trading day? Does the market feel like a hostile place for you? Are you failing to execute your trading signals? Are you constantly searching for a trading system? And finally, are you constantly losing? So think about how you answered each one of these questions. And if you answered a couple of them yes, all right, then what we want to do is try to change that, okay, because really the goal for you is to develop the trader's mindset. You want to be a successfully consistent trader. You want to actually work less and make more. Do you know once you have a structured set of trading rules that give you the edge, then really how you make more money is exploit that edge more, right? Now, it may take a more money in your trading account to do that, but that's kind of working smarter instead of harder. So I think that is very important to think about that. You also want to approach the markets calmly and stress-free from a sense of emotional balance. I know when I first started trading, you know, I would get so mad, all right, on a variety of reasons. If the market broke away from an opportunity I was looking at and I couldn't get in as good as where I thought I was, then I got mad at that. If I got stopped out by one or two tickets and then the market ticks and the markets took off in the direction I expected it to, I got mad at that. Then I started realizing, as I got a little bit more experience in the market and in control of my emotions, that really, there's opportunities each and every day in the market. And so if you miss one, it was no big deal. The problem is that I was energizing, my emotions were energizing the events around me to make them a big deal in a negative way. So we're going to talk a little bit about how our minds do that and what we can do, all right, to actually change that. All right, so you got to master your mind, and that's one of the things psychology is all about. And you can actually, if you don't have the psychology situation down, you can actually create or manifest losing trades, even with a trading system that has an edge, because you're not trading it from a structured standpoint. Instead, you're trading it from an emotional one. And as Warren Buffett says, you have to be able to control yourself. You can't let your emotions get in the way of your mind. So true for the markets. Let's talk about some factors affecting psychology here. There's three I'm going to really focus on because we only have an hour here. But visual perception, is what we're looking at illusion or reality? And then I want to talk about our emotional perception. This is your mood. All right, are you fearful, scared, or optimistic? So your emotional perception is your environment really between your ears, so to speak. And then you have your physical environment, your actual past and present, and how that may be influencing your current thoughts and beliefs. So let's first talk about the visual perception, illusion or reality. All right, first of all, I want to just make a note that our minds are probably capable of a lot more than we realize. And I'm going to show you a few visual examples, which are kind of fun. And they're going to illustrate how our minds can conceive and create illusions we may not even be aware of. Take a look at this first diagram here. The lines make the boxes look irregular, don't they? They make the actual lines look slanted as well. But in reality, if you took a real ruler, okay, all those boxes are square and all those lines are straight. Again, our mind is creating these illusions. Take a look at this one. Now this is just a simple picture, but it's vibrating. And again, this is how our minds can create illusions on things that we are looking at. Okay, I'm getting a sign here that there's no audio. Is there audio? Bob is telling me no audio. Is the audio okay? The audio seems to be okay for everybody. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't losing anybody. All right. So, this is a 2D picture we're looking at, but it takes a life of its own. Now, how does it do that? Well, there's something going on in our visual perception. All right. Take a look at this one. It's a little scary, but, we're close to Halloween, so this is okay. Take a look at the dot on this woman's nose here. Okay. So take a look at the dot. And then look at the white portion on the right. Focus on the dot for about 15 seconds. And then look on the right. Now what you should see, all right, and it may take you a few times, but what you should see is you should see the complete person's face on the right as if it was a normal photograph. If you don't, you may just need to look at it a little longer. All right, some folks are seeing it, okay? Pretty cool, huh? All right, here's another one of lines, not as complex as the other one, but basically are the horizontal lines parallel or do they slope? Actually, I had to get a ruler out to take a look at this. And they actually are straight. Take a look at this one. Count the black dots. They all turn white. This is pretty cool. And again, a 2D regular picture coming across to you from a PowerPoint slide over the internet. And we call this rotating snakes, and it actually appears as if they're moving. This one also moves to the right, kind of like a fan, slowly. Mike's asking, can we look at the nose picture again? Mike, I can't because I don't have much time and I got so much material. If I end up getting done a little earlier, I'll backtrack to it. Sorry, buddy. Steve's saying I'm hallucinating. I know, right? All right, this is another interesting one. Is a reality an illusion? Whatever the case can be, our brain has a nasty habit of playing tricks on us, bending objective reality into the subjective. In other words, they're saying, you know, is A and B different colors? And actually, they're the same. Check that out. They look the difference, but when you line them all up, they're the same. This one I had to think about for a while. I couldn't understand how that was, but it is technically correct. Connect to the blue or the red lines. Another play. See, on the left, it looks like it connects to the blue, but in reality, the black connects to the red. This is another one, okay, where it takes a life of its own on. So I think you get the picture. In fact, when we talk about pictures, there's a guy by the name of Julian Beaver who goes to different cities and draws 3D drawings on sidewalks. It's kind of interesting. And here he has finished one, and there's a child actually standing on the sidewalk. It's a flat sidewalk, but it looks like he's standing on a building facing down. And if he's hopped off that building, he would fall. All right? And there he is actually drawing it. Okay, so what's the purpose of all this? Why am I showing you all this stuff, and what does it have to do with trading? I'm sure that's kind of creeping into folks' minds. Well, visual examples illustrate how our minds can conceive and create illusions we may not even be aware of. Illusions may be visual, all right, or they may be created subconsciously, and we haven't talked about subconscious illusions yet, but we're going to get there, all right? So when we talk about subconscious illusions, not visual, but subconscious, these are usually created by emotions and beliefs, okay? And so we are going to cover that because that's an important part of how that can affect you. All right, so since visual examples illustrate how our minds can conceive and create illusions, this leads us to ask, are you seeing the market as it really is? Take a look at this chart. We're going to show you two charts. I want you to tell me which one creates more emotion and which one has more volatility. Chances are the one that has more volatility is going to create more emotions, right? Okay, which chart represents more volatility? This one kind of, you know, channeling flat, doesn't really give you much in terms of an emotional response. This one, however, because of the volatility, may actually trigger more of an emotional response. All right, and that response can be directed, depending on how you view volatility, as fear and so forth. All right, so again, let's go back. This chart here, all right, you probably don't see too much opportunity here. If you're a scalper, you may see some opportunity here on these short swings. But guess what? They both are exactly the same market. One is just, what we've done is zoomed in on one segment of the chart. And so the reason I'm showing you this is because, you know, we all look at the same charts, but you realize you may not be looking at the same chart with the same set of emotions depending on how you have it set up. All right, we're talking about the X and Y axis very simply here. Okay, so this shows you how even some simple settings that you may have when you're looking at markets may make you bullish while somebody else could be bearish. All right, and it is the same chart. The other thing too that's interesting is that there was a study that says if you put your trading monitors at eye level or slightly above, all right, you'll actually trade better than if they're below eye level. Okay, so it's kind of interesting, all these little tidbits you can pick up. All right, now I want to talk a little bit about the emotional perception. All right, we're going to focus on fear. We're going to talk about being optimistic, scared, basically your mood here. All right, illusions, as we said before, may be visual or may be created subconsciously by the emotions created by beliefs. So I want everybody, really quick, without thinking, to write down what animal does the market signify to you. Don't think. And then type in your choices, okay, in the chat box, real quick. Don't think, okay? Don't analyze it. Okay, bulls, snakes. Snakes I hear a lot. Bears, shark. All right, great. Good job. All right, the next thing I want you to think about and ask yourself is the animal you chose. Is it threatening or friendly or something in between? All right, think about that. Very threatening, threatening. All right, this is one of the first questions I always ask when I'm doing consultations with somebody, because right away it tells me whether they're trading from a fearful mindset in the markets or they're not. If they're trading, if the animal they chose is threatening, then the chances are they are trading from a fearful mindset, which means that some of the outcomes of that is that they have a hard time pulling the trigger to get in unless they have, 15 indicators on their chart all pointing in the one direction. So it leads to that type of behavior. Or, okay, they may get out of trends, perfectly good trends, too soon because they're fearful, all right, that the trend will stop and it'll take all their money away that they've been so happy about making. All right, so a fearful mindset is associated with an animal that you may feel threatening. Now don't worry, okay, so if you chose a fearful mindset, all right, all hope is not lost. You can change this around and we're going to talk about how you can, okay? So, but your answer is actually going to tell you much about your beliefs in the market. If the market, as I said, is threatening or tricky to you, you most likely choose an animal that could hurt or deceive you. If the market is a threatening and hostile place, you will trade from a fearful mindset. And we basically covered all this before. But also, if the market is fun and a safe place for you, then you will most likely choose an animal that is non-threatening, like a cuddly teddy bear or something, or a favorite pet. However, you can take that to the extreme too. And if you think the market is just a one big happy party, well, that may lead you not to take risk control, right? And you know what happens when you don't take risk control. So you have to shoot for a balance, and I think that's important. I want to talk now a little bit about beliefs and thoughts, and I know I'm moving fast, but I only have a limited amount of time, so I do want to keep it going. All right, so let's talk about some of the relationships that beliefs, thoughts, and attitudes can have in behaviors. All right, thoughts. All right, thoughts and ideas. Do you know, as a human being, we think of probably thousands of thoughts a day. They come in our mind and they leave our mind. Some we act on and some we don't. All right. However, when they come in and they leave, that's a non-event. When they come in and trigger an emotion, all right, so you got to think about this to trading for a moment. Let's say you have a loss in trading. If you energize that loss with your emotions, you make it a big deal. And the question I'm going to ask you all is, do you energize your wins as much as you energize your losses? And I'll bet you energize your losses more. Now, I'm not talking about, bragging rights here. What I'm talking about is deep inside your feelings, okay? And so what happens is when you energize your losses, all right, you tend to get stuck in that realm, and you don't want to do that. The reason why folks tend to energize their losses more than their wins is simply because when they're trading, they expect to win. So when they win, it's business as usual, and it's not energized as much as a loss is. So that's one thing you need to work on, okay? So let's just go through this here. So a belief is an energized thought that you make real or accept as true. Attitudes, okay, beliefs can create attitudes and can influence our actions and reactions. Behavior is a result of belief, thoughts, and attitudes set into action. Emotions that are attached to our thoughts thus ultimately creates our behavior. So if we're having a losing trade and we start energizing all these losing trades and not think much about or not energize the the winners, you're going to feel like a loser. Okay? I think that's important. All right, so I want you now to ask yourself a question. When you have a loss, do you energize it? When you have a loss and when you have a win, do you energize it? And of course, I think, that's a personal response. You don't have to answer in here, all right? But your core beliefs, all right, are also a result of what thoughts you energize. So do you perceive yourself overall as a winner or a loser? Okay. Do you feel money is good or bad? Do you feel trading is the perfect business? Is it possible? Do you feel that you deserve success? All right. And every question I just asked, deep inside, you have an answer. And that answer came from someplace. And it came from the result of energizing thoughts over time into beliefs. So if you have some beliefs that are negative or may sabotage your trading, you're going to have to change them. And you can change them. But you're going to have to do that or you're going to have a very hard time being successful. For example, let's talk about how to change beliefs here, and I'm going to give you an example to do this. Let's say you have a belief that money is the root of all evil. Now, where you got this belief, I could list 100 reasons. Maybe you grew up in a family where that's what they talked about. Maybe it's just something that you picked up on the news constantly that, people that had money are evil because they're always in the news, blah, 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 blah. Whatever the reason is, it doesn't matter. The main thing is that your belief system says money is the root of all evil. All right, the first thing you want to identify is, and first thing you need to do is face that you have this belief. Okay, and on any belief, is it empowering or disempowering? In other words, is it a good belief for you or a bad belief? And in trading, I cannot believe having a belief that money is the root of all evil can be good and will result in success. Because if you have this underlying belief, then how can you make money as a trader? All right, so you need to get to the root of where these disempowering beliefs come from. And so you need to do a lot of soul searching here. All right, and then you also, if you want to change a belief, it's actually simple. It just takes a little time. You need to replace, all right, the disempowering belief with an empowering belief, and in this example, that would be for money. So if you think money is the root of all evil and you have that belief and you want to change it, then think about all the good you can do with money. All right? You can give to charities if you want. You can help your family out. So money actually can be a good thing, but you have to see it as that. And so that is how you can change a belief on money, but you actually have to see it in action. Okay? Let's look at the environment for a moment here. All right? The environment can and will impact your belief system. This is your current environment. All right? And if you think about your past and how that influences your beliefs now, all right, think about that. All right? And again, if you have any ones that are negative, work on changing those and figure out where they came from. Think about your present and how that influences your beliefs. All right? We all have a unique maze on this level, and we all have to get through the maze. But I can tell you, if you have some beliefs that are counterintuitive to trading, they're going to sabotage your trading. And so it's something you really got to get to the bottom of. Here's a very simple one, okay? Is the glass half full or half empty? Is this a visual illusion or a belief illusion? Some will answer it's half full. Some will answer a half empty. Okay? The reason why is going to be unique to that individual. Okay? All right, so how do we use this information to create what we call the trader's mindset? All right, so we all look at a chart, right? This is the actual source or actual message, so to speak, for traders. We look at a chart. The perception is we take that source, we combine it with beliefs, you do the interpretation, you do the processing, throw in some analysis, and you have your own new perceived unique message. This is why traders can see the same market differently and why we ultimately trade our own belief systems. So the point here is that beliefs, all right, get intertwined with your analysis and therefore do impact how you see markets. All right, quantum physics goes even a step further here. Consciousness is equal perceived physical reality. Time exists and we move in time. All right, that's consciousness. Price velocity is the movement of prices through time, represents the consciousness of all traders. So this price represents moments of mass consciousness generated by highly energized thoughts that become beliefs, and is why the markets can be irrational at times. Look at the dot-com bubble going back in 2000. All right, if you looked at all the dot-com companies, they were both basically, for the most part, all losing money. And yet, the mass of traders were so enthralled with the thought of the internet and driving sales through the internet that any time a new dot-com company came out, they threw money at it. All right, because they believed at that point their belief was that the dot-com was the way to go. And that was the mass consciousness reacting to drive prices up in an irrational way. So mass beliefs do influence prices. Since this can happen on a mass scale, we also know that this can happen on a personal level as well. So your beliefs can influence your trading results, and this is what makes traders losers and winners. And again, if you have negative beliefs, okay, they are going to impact or drive your trading to some degree. So I think one of the first things you got to start doing as a trader when you're looking at a chart is stop worrying about your past and what will happen in the future and trade the present moment or trade the present price activity. All right, a lot of you have a lot of different trading approaches, which is fine, but also too, you don't want to get stuck in the emotional trap of always trading your last trade. And so you want to trade in the present moment. You know, XYZ company is trending to the upside. I feel fear because the last time I saw this, the market reversed on my last trade, stopped me out at a loss. So I think I'll take my profit now and go ahead and lock in the profit, and then you watch the trend continue up another 50%, and you're out of the trade because you literally let fear talk you out of the trade. So you made an emotional decision with that example to get out of the trade. All right, so this is one of the things. You got to stop trading your last trade. Go with the statistics, your edge. If your system wins more than it loses and your payoff ratio is above 1-to-1, then that's your edge. You go with it. Stop denial, okay? Don't run from your fear, all right? Your past or your present. Seek the truth in yourself and your environment. Face your problems head on. Okay, so you want to also become aware of your emotional triggers. We all have them. And you'll all have market emotional triggers as well. All right, so get to know what they are and create a set of trading rules to handle them. Facing master trader, you must face reality and accept it. Find out who you really are. Spend some more time with that. Fear and greed, which is more powerful, fear or greed? Let me ask this question. Let me see what the results are in the chat. Fear and greed. Okay, Mike is saying fear. Fear, fear, greed, fear. Fear, for the most part, is winning out. Equal. Ooh, that's an interesting one. Equal. Okay, good. Okay, thank you. All right, so Buffett even says there is no comparison between fear and greed. Fear is instant, pervasive, and intense. Greed is slower. Fear hits. However, I got to be honest with you, all right? doesn't greed also have an element of fear in it? In other words, if you miss a trend, all right, and you want to get into that, isn't that partly, that's greed, but if you miss it, isn't it also the fear of being left out? They're both intertwined, but are they equal in intensity? That's a question that's going to be unique to each and every one of us. So the goal, though, of how you see fear and greed, or more importantly, is how you feel fear and greed, is the goal is to see fear and greed for what they are, emotions. Be able to see emotions or triggers in the market and exploit them. Emotions create increased volume, fast markets, and fractals or pivot points representing behavior changes and not be original at times. .com bubble. Okay? In order to succeed, your desire for success should be greater than your failure. All right? So the idea of some of these quotes I'm going to show you is to get you thinking a bit here as we kind of wrap up a little bit. I want to talk a little bit more about some of the professions related to fear and how to stop fear. All right? What do samurai warriors, combat pilots, race car drivers, traders, and I'll even add in the popular Navy SEAL have in common? Certain, okay. Well, yeah, if they don't do well, they can die, right? The only difference, traders financially, okay? I like what I'm seeing here, training, okay, risk takers, okay, behind, okay. All right, so I think the key here is stop fear. Why did I list these? The reason I listed these is because in order to stop fear, they had to be training all the time. Warriors, they train every day, even when they're not in combat. Same thing with fighter pilots, race car drivers, traders, Navy SEALs. Do you think they train all the time? So why is it any different? You need to be testing your system and look at the edge. And if you don't have the edge yet, don't go live. You're not ready to fight yet. Fear is usually the reason most people never leave their comfort zone, right? Relative to each one of us, because it is, in some cases, an illusion. All evidence real. Sometimes fear is a good thing, based off reality. But when it's based off an illusion, it's not. Learn visualization skills for success helps to build positive belief about yourself. All right, now I'm going to skip through here because we only got a few minutes left. All right. This is a little bit more about your belief systems. We cover more and more in the course. So I think it's and I think what I was able to touch base with here in 45 minutes is to get to know yourself. You need to get to know your triggers. You also have to realize that it's important to learn skills, all your emotions, and identify distorted illusions from real areas where you need to take action before they sabotage your trading. All right, I think important. All right, now, if you liked what I had to say here, okay, I have a developed specifically for traders, and I'm going to put a link up in the chat window, an order link available for me to use up here, so I'm putting that up there now. We have a % off on this course. It's not an expensive course, but I'm going to tell you it's going to help you immensely in getting a handle on your trading. So it's all about building goods, okay, and I think that's important. And I also think it's all about understanding the ways in which your beliefs are impacting your trading. I don't really have time for questions, unfortunately, but I'm just going to go through a few quick slides here. One thing is I love this one. You are far too smart to be the only thing standing in your way. How true, right? Just because you're struggling and you are failing, every great success requires some kind of struggle to get there. Opportunity always comes with opposition. So hang in there. Conquering your emotions, no, it's not easy, but it can be done, and you need to do it in order to be a successful trader. All right? If you're looking for that person that will change your life, take a look in the mirror. If you're sure that one set of trading rules that will change your trading life, look in the mirror. Your desire for success should be greater than your fear of failure. We saw that one already. Maturity comes when you stop excuses and start making changes. All right? Have no fear of protection. That's another thing. A lot of folks entering the market from a trading standpoint, okay, so the markets, because they have this perfectionism about their trading approach. It's not real. You know, good trading systems win about 60, 65%, but their payoff ratios are high, higher than 1-to-1. That's all it has to be in that rate. All right, this is a little bit about how we perceive reality. The universe is punishing you. It is not blessing you. It is not controlling you. The universe responds to the vibration. Happy, and happiness will come to you. Think negatively, and negativity will come to you. What we turn out in the universe, we get back, echo, kind of like that. All right, winners are not people who never fail, but people who never quit. Amen to that. All right, so that's pretty much it for today.